a lot of it just has to do with you just keep going. And we talked about this last time, but I'll say it again. I was at a point where kind of nothing was coming together in the late 2000s. And I hung out with Tom Petty that night, and we were just talking about songwriting, whatever. He was asking me about my career. And he said, I told him sort of the 1-minute version. And he said, man, the only way it's ever going to happen is if that's all you're doing. And he told me this story about literally like selling all his possessions and hopping in a station wagon and heading out to LA, not, pulling up the drawbridge. The only way to do it is to pull up the drawbridge. You're right. Not everybody is going to succeed. But if you stick to it, there was a point probably 10 years ago where it all kind of started to come together, not because I'm so great, but because I just stuck to it so long. I had enough context that I could pay the bills. Right. So I'm not famous or remotely well known, but I make a living. Yeah. And I make a living, during this pandemic or, in normal life, regular life, doing only exactly what I want to do, and I realize every single day when I get up, whenever the fuck I want, unless I have to be on the radio or something, that, I'm just incredibly lucky. I'm just this guy who had not even a big dream. I didn't want to be like the fucking Beatles or anything. I remember seeing Elvis Costello in a coffee shop in New York City here in the 80s. It was before he worked with McCartney. But he was Elvis. He'd written Allison and Blood and Chocolate and Imperial Bedroom and like, holy shit, Yeah. And he was just sitting there minding his own business, reading a magazine, and nobody even noticed him. Right. And I remember saying to my girlfriend at the time, that's what I want. I want people to respect me, but I want to be able to go to a coffee shop and just be Declan McManus. I don't want to be, the marquee name. And in my own small way, I think that's what I've achieved, because people they certainly treat me with respect. Whether they actually respect me or not, I don't know. But people treat me well, and I can, I can promote something and people seem to pay attention and there are fans, and that's an incredibly good feeling. But I go to, the deli or whatever, and nobody even knows or cares who I am. Right. I love that. I have friends who are incredibly famous, and that is just an unbelievable burden. Yeah. To think, like, hey, let's go out and, well, I got to kind of get dressed and look a certain way, and, and that's as much on them as it is on the public. But nobody wants to be photographed, in an East Village record shop looking like they just rolled out of bed. Yeah. So sure. when people will pay attention to that sort of thing. So look, I think it's, you've got your podcast, I've got the things I do. We have these amazing platforms that we wouldn't have imagined for ourselves, right? It wasn't what we sort of, it wasn't the life we imagined, but I'm pretty fucking okay with it.